We have all heard of generative AI products like ChatGPT and Snapchat's AI bot, but did you know that they use neural networks inspired by the human brain? Unlike AI bots, information in our brain is communicated through electrical and chemical signals by neural pathways made up of neurons. Neurons communicate to each other by changing membrane potential, the difference between positive and negative ions inside and outside the neuron. When a neuron is at rest, the outside is more positive with more positive sodium ions than negative chloride ions. The inside of the neuron is more negative with more negative anions than positive potassium ions. The membrane potential is usually negative 70 millivolts. Along the membrane, there are two ion channels, ligand-gated ion channels, aka LGICs, and voltage-gated ion channels, aka VGICs, which control what ions can pass in and out. The LGIC will open if a ligand like a neurotransmitter, or NT, binds to its receptor, while a VGIC will open at a certain value in MV. When a neuron receives a signal from another neuron via NTs, the NT will bind to a receptor of a sodium LGIC, which lets the sodium ions from the outside come inside like an unlocked door. As more sodium ions come in, the neuron becomes more positive, creating an excitatory postsynaptic potential, aka EPSP, and triggers the sodium VGICs to open, usually around negative 55 millivolts. This releases even more positive ions and triggers the action potential at the axon hillox to move down to the axon terminal, with more sodium channels opening. Next, the neuron's charge increases to 0 millivolts, which is called depolarization, and soon it reaches the peak of the action potential called the overshoot, which is usually around 30 to 40 millivolts. The neuron will inactivate the sodium channels and trigger the potassium VGICs, allowing potassium ions to move out of the cell. This causes the cell to be more negative inside and more positive outside, decreasing the millivolt value. This is known as repolarization. After that, the neuron experiences hyperpolarization, when the millivolt value is less than the resting potential, and the neuron can no longer repeat another action potential. The process can start again when the neuron balances back to its resting potential.